So in the situation of 11th and ends, or Mission at 11th Street, that drainage ditch is part of the county right away, but we'll abate that. We just haven't got to it yet. We did the property all around the fire station, the property that we leased. But that's what
It looked like somebody cleared around the sign and then left a bunch.
Yeah, we had guys go out with the weed eater and kind of clean that up. We're hoping the county would come out and do the heavy lifting, but they're not going to. They came through town and they did some parcels, and they usually show up late to the game, but they do some as well. So we still have a couple weeks before the abatement is, at order.
He made it my responsibility, I don't know why. Snow.
Understood. Any other questions?
No, I think you answered my question.
Can't see it.
Because I wrote the address down of the, and I didn't see it on here. It's 1140 Mission Street. You know where that is, I'm sure.
1140 Mission Street, we went through, we abated that.
Yeah, but you didn't abate it all the way to the road.
That's what we were just talking about. That road is the county right of way. It's a county easement right there, so we don't have control over that property. We're hoping the county will come through and abate it, but if they don't,
Well, yeah.
second, we'll do it.
We need
Technically-
10 minutes and now.
Technically, you need to get an encroachment permit to do that. And that's what I told
Well, it's,
Mr. Snow.
well, we could leave it.
I know, but why?
I'd prefer not to.
I do too.
So if we abate it, does it go on our tax roll?
Excuse me?
If we abate it, does it go on our tax roll?
You noticed that? Yeah.
It's one of those things that we've done in the past. You know, we've abated that property. The Firefighters Association has abated that property for years.
Understood. Any other comments? Public comments? No? Okay. It's up to you guys.
I move to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion on the floor by Director Smiley to approve Resolution 2025-18, authorizing the abatement of weeds within district boundaries, seconded by Director Green. We'll have a vote. Director Green?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 5-0, no absence.
Okay, move on to the next item. Request for proposal, street lighting design services.
This item is to authorize the general manager to release a request for proposals for street lighting design services within the district. What's being proposed is to hire a firm to design and permit additional streetlights within the district. What they would be doing is producing a construction packet that we could go out to a contractor, have the lights installed, provide all permitting for PG&E to actually get lights installed instead of trying to drag PG&E along long enough to get them to do it. The areas that are being targeted are along the walking path across the railroad tracks and parallel to 16th Street. So from the intersection of 16th and Mission, across the railroad tracks to the intersection of N and 16th, where all the kids go across, there is a pedestrian path there. Lights would undoubtedly be outside of the right-of-way, which is 50 feet from the center of the tracks. But that would provide adequate lighting for people to go across the intersection there and at the intersections so that people don't get run over. Another area is east corners of intersection of 10th Street and 11th Street, so we can highlight all the weeds that are there. There's a lot of people that walk across that intersection as well. It has been an intersection that people have asked repeatedly for streetlights to help.
I'm sorry, which one?
At Mission and 11th Street.
Yeah, okay.
So the east corners of Mission and 11th, the west side of Mission Street between 11th Street and San Luis Obispo Road. So along the Mission Street where the sidewalk is, from 11th Street where our current street lighting stops, all the way down to the Mission, including around the park. the park is between 9th Street and San Luis Obispo. And both sides of the bridge crossing the Salinas River along the North River Road. So there would be lighting on the east and west sides of the bridge, but not on the bridge. That on the east side of the bridge would include the intersection of Vineyard Canyon, Meridian Valley, and River Road.
Cross Canyon,
Cross Canyon.
Power Road.
That whole intersection.
You know there's no pole there.
And
So what's the cost of installing a pole?
so we have power at that corner. It would be just a matter of putting it. Part of what this is to design and produce a construction estimate for these projects.
Right.
They may not all be able to be done right now, but trying to.
How would you put a pole on the corner there where the C.S.D. has that building?
So we would put one on that corner. It would be a metal pole. It would be undergrounded from our pole that's on the top of the hill down to the intersection. There is poles on the other side of the North River Road, so they would be able to take power from there and put lights on the other side of the roadie too.
On the other side of North River Road?
So when you're going across and you go past both of those intersections, the power goes on the top of the hill to the top of the hill. So if you're not really looking, you're not seeing the poles.
Okay.
Along Mission Street, it would all be underground, so we'd have to run conduit underground to each of the poles. It would all be new steel poles in alliance with either our decorative light pole standards or the standard steel pole that they put at normal intersections. The RFP outlines 2 additional locations to be determined in the future if the board decides that additional intersections are of interest to add streetlights. Again, this is just to release the RFP. Any proposals that are brought back would be handled or reviewed, and a proposal, whichever one is the winner, would be brought to the board for future approval.
Questions?
Go ahead.
Yep.
183,581. What do we have in lighting? I was gonna look and, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I did.
Wrong line.
Never mind. Do you have an idea of what's gonna come back as far as the RFP goes, or is it just whatever they throw at us?
As far as the overall cost,
Yeah. Just for the design?
I don't have anything really to base it on.
Right.
Our engineers don't do this type of work, so they didn't have anything to base it on.
All right.
My assumption, based on other similar type of work, would be somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000
Just for the
design, for the construction documents and the permit.
So, and remind me how much we have in lighting reserve?
I don't recall, but if you give me 2 seconds, I will.
Yeah, I was hoping that you would do that so I didn't have to try scrolling through to find it.
Yep.
I'm not good at this yet. I figured we'd be right about there.
He's doing that. Are you freezing? Yeah.
I am freezing.
Yeah, me too.
That was super hot on the door.
Just going off. I'm not allowed to touch those things.
So the lighting department currently has just over 1 million in total and has in unrestricted funds about 600,000 and about 400,000 in restricted funds. So my estimate is that the front end costs would be roughly 50 to 100,000. Could be more depending on level of effort. I would imagine that if the district were to move forward on lighting down Mission Street, that would probably be $100,000 to $200,000 project just in construction.
I would like to get a consensus from the board on adding, there's 3 power poles between the fire station and 14th Street on the east side of the road. And especially, there's already a light on one of the poles and it's not on. And it's
What was that?
the one that the sheriff has his camera on.
Then it's just out, so we need to call.
It wasn't a distraction for the camera?
That's not my problem.
Well, it isn't our problem, and it's, I was downtown the other night, and somebody was crossing the street and almost got hit, because people are going too fast, and it's dark. The trees cover the lights, and there's a shadow right there under that pole, and I looked up, and there's a freaking light on that pole,
Yeah.
and it's not on.
Any lights that are installed should be on.
Okay, so as a matter of public safety, I would like to get a consensus of the board to add to get operating lights on those 3 poles.
We cannot take that action right now.
Oh.
You can,
Board comment.
yes, there you go, and it can come to a next meeting for action to be taken. Or if it's just a matter of lights being out at board comment, 2 of you can direct staff to look into it and deal with it and bring it back if necessary.
Okay. So, Kelly, are they gonna provide, engineering services for this as well? Write plans like they could start construction with?
So that is what we're asking for from them, is to do the initial analysis of where the lights are, get a layout of where they should be, if we can even put them there. And then through the end of it is to provide permitting services with PG&E and the county, and provide construction documents.
Are you going to shop this to existing companies can provide these services?
So we have a running list of all firms that have shown interest before and the firms that we've used before, and our practice is to send it to everybody. I'm sorry?
Are they local?
Some of them are local, some of them are not.
Okay.
Our engineer also has firms that they feel can do this work, so it'll be sent to them as well. And virtually all of the ones that they would send it to are local, but we try to send it to as many local firms as possible, because it's much easier to deal with somebody that's here than somebody that's in a different state.
Yeah, I guess my concern would be, I see there's a non-mandatory pre-proposal meeting, but it's, a Teams meeting. It's not in person where people are actually seeing the sites that they would be engineering. And it seems like that would be difficult to do from not having seen the locations we're asking for engineering for.
So the one benefit here is that all these sites are available on Google Maps and Google Earth, so they can tour those sites virtually on those sites.
It's two-dimensional though, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason it's non-mandatory, my normal thing is a mandatory meeting, but I'm trying to get some more participation.
Oh yeah, no, I get that part of it.
And there should be enough information out there, and if any of these companies were interested and wanted to reach out and get a better picture of it, then they're more than welcome to come out and take a look, or give us a call or whatever.
And you have a period of time while it's posted that they can ask questions about the scope anyway, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We usually give them at least a couple weeks. I don't recall right offhand, I think. They have 2 weeks before the meeting, and then 2 weeks after the meeting to submit any sort of questions.
Fair enough. Any other questions or comments? Gentlemen? No? Any public comment?
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
See? Public.
She's still funny.
John Green Drive. Your pen doesn't.
Tim knows who you are.
Yes, it's really for people out there to have that equipment.
I have the following signatures are representative of property owners located on the San Lawrence Terrace within the boundary of the San Miguel Community Services District. By signing below, they are affirming not in support of additional street lighting on the San Lawrence Terrace. 27 signatures.
Thank you for your comment. Any other public comment? Okay. We have a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I'm sorry.
So we have a motion by Director Beatty and a second by Director Green
To approve.
to approve. Thank you.
Oh, it is green, okay. Okay, I have a motion on the floor to release the request for proposal for street lighting design services by Director Beatty, second by Director Green. We'll have a vote. Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Green?
Yes.
Director Davis?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 5-0, no absence.
Okay, move on to the next item. Award a contract for water, wastewater, and street lighting master plan update to Water System Consulting, WSC, in a combined amount not to exceed $183,581 from water, wastewater, and lighting. Resolution 2025-15.
So, in November, a RFP was circulated. In January, the RFPs were due. We received two. One was from Water Systems Consulting, who is our current district engineer, for $183,581. And the other from Blackwater Consulting Engineers for $431,633. Pretty vast difference. Both proposals met all the requirements. Obviously, Blackwater was considerably higher. So what is being proposed is that a contract with WSC is approved for the updates to the master plan for water, wastewater, street lighting. Each department would be charged for the work for its department. This wouldn't just be split. Estimated breakdown per fund is for water, $52,379, for wastewater, $82,951, and for street lighting, $48,251. Bringing to a total of $183,581. Part of what is proposed under the wastewater master plan is a sewer model. Part of that sewer model is to model what was cleaned and inspected under the sewer lining and manhole rehabilitation grant that we got. So approximately $25,000 to $30,000, depending on actual work, would be paid through that grant for the wastewater department. So that $82,000 could be reduced down to about $50,000, depending on how much of that can be attributed to that grant. However, because that work has not started yet, it is included here as a separate item. Each one of these, or for each department, we would essentially be bringing all the master plans to our current state with all of our projects for each department. All the analyses for water demand, for sewer demand, main sizing, flow projections for what we know right now and what we're projecting for housing development will all be incorporated into those. We had previously gone out for the same work several years ago and received no responses. At that time, our district engineer only updated the costs for the capital improvement projects, just so they can be included in our grant applications. This will also update our projects to align with the projected growth of the district and any new regulation that we have that's coming down the line for your water or wastewater. Part of the project that was just approved for an RFP, the last item, will be incorporated in this master plan for street lighting, depending on what the board wants to do moving forward. If the board decides not to do the construction portion of those street lighting options, then they would be included in the master plan for future use, with escalated costs depending on when we believe that it would be done. For wastewater in particular, the updated cost projections for any improvements would be incorporated into future rate increase or rate studies for future rate increases or rate reductions, depending on what the future holds in that respect. That's all I have. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Gentlemen? Mr. Davis?
Yeah, now, is the plan that you had to run sewer line underneath the bridge to put in, is that included in here?
Which one? There's one related to development, and there's one related to the septic to sewer conversion program, or grant.
Right.
That one?
Yeah, because it was going to the terrace, and you were gonna have them come off their septic tanks and tie into the line that you proposed going across the river.
So the master plan for wastewater will include that as a concept. It's not going to be construction drawings for that project. So the master plan is a plan that's forecasting where we may have additional connections, where additional mains may be, what needs to be replaced, if we need additional lift stations. It's forecasting what the capital costs are for the future. So it doesn't mean, by including something in a master plan, it does not mean that you're going to build it or you have to build it. It's incorporating that cost as an identified future expense, or a future project, future possibility, so that if we go out for grant funding or we're trying to incorporate costs for service into a rate study, that those costs are identified and can be incorporated to the extent possible. In the particular case of the septic to sewer project, that is a project that was awarded a grant. That project will be incorporated into the master plan as a project and a concept as far as where it would go and how many connections could be connected to that, primarily for flow calculations for the line going across the bridge and flow calculations at the treatment plant to make sure that 20 years from now we don't exceed our plant or exceed our flow capabilities of the sewer lines because we didn't make them big enough in the first place. The importance of that particular project is that the airport project, which will also be included in this master plan, has to come across the bridge. So if we don't forecast what's going to be added on to that, just as a hypothetical, then that line gets put in at a smaller diameter and could be too small to incorporate anything else, requiring it to be replaced if those are ever built. Not saying that they're going to be built, just...
What about, is it Crabtree? Am I getting the name right?
Yeah, Crabtree.
Is that going to be sewers or septics?
That project will be sewer. It'll be going across the bridge.
How's it coming down the hill?
They're going to pump it to River Road and it'll come gravity down across the bridge.
No, I understand that, down Martinez, down,
Oh, you're talking about the one on Martinez.
Up by the water tank.
Magdalena.
Yeah.
So that project should be on sewer. It would probably come down Martinez. If it's built at all.
right, okay. Okay.
Oh, I have another question. You said you applied for a grant
For what?
for running the sewer line
For
across?
septic and sewer?
Yeah. septic.
So the district applied for a grant for that and it was awarded a grant for that. So by the end of this year, we would probably have an agreement for the planning phase of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on it.
No.
I'm hearing you're gonna run into a lot of locked gates.
Well, as was previously explained and will be explained probably 100 times before we actually get to the end of this year, the grant is for the design, outreach, permitting, everything on the front end of that project.
Including the construction.
No,
Oh,
there's two different parts of that.
Oh.
Although we have applied and are awarded the planning portion, once we get through that, the way the state works is you have to go through planning. When you get towards the end of planning, then they'll award you construction based on what you're doing. If we get through planning and it's very clear that one person wants it and 79 don't, then it's not gonna get built.
I know 34 that don't, and I haven't knocked on a single door.
Well, and that's fine. But you have to give the benefit of the doubt for the correct information to be put out to the public so that they have the most information to make an
I
informed
agree,
decision.
but that should have been done before we reached out for the grant. The public should have been, they should have had an input as to why the district is wasting their money applying for the grant to begin with.
So what you're asking
I haven't found a single person up there that's in favor, not one. Oh, no, there was one. There was one.
So what you're asking for is the district to spend the district's money, or the community,
Well, no.
or this part of the community's
Well-
money to decide whether or not there should be sewer. on
I
this
don't think
premise.
anybody down here should be deciding for those people up there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of work that has to get done before you can even say that we're going to do this for sure.
See, that was the
The
concern.
environmental portion, which we can't afford to do without a grant, may put a stop to it altogether in the first place. So, although I appreciate your efforts in what you're trying to do, please understand that we have to go through these steps
I understand.
in order to get there. And there's not enough information for anybody over there to definitively say that they are never going to be connected to it. I mean, everybody can have an opinion, but until the information is out there, I would appreciate everybody just having an open mind and the benefit of the doubt, saying that maybe there's something out there to help you. But that's not why we're here. We're here about the master plan.
Okay, fair enough.
So back to the master plan.
Yep.
183,000 change. Is this literally updating an existing document, or are they creating a master plan?
So they're updating our current master plan, but they're creating the water model, well, they're updating the water model, they're creating the sewer model, they're creating the lighting master plan from nothing, because we don't have one.
Okay. Thank you. Any additional? Gentlemen, anything additional?
I don't have any, the only thing I would like to say is that I don't ever recall giving you permission to go after a grant.
Well, I can tell you right now that the state will not allow me to apply for a grant without the board's consent.
Yeah, well, you'll have to refresh my memory because I don't remember.
It's been a long time, I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah.
We're talking years and years and years.
Yeah, okay.
So I can pull that up and I can provide that to you. But again, that's not why we're here.
Well, I know that, but it pertains to 183,000. So anyway, that's fine.
Any public comment on this item? No. Okay. Anyone like to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve. I second it.
I have a motion on the floor by Director Smiley to approve Resolution 2025-15 to award a contract for water wastewater street lighting master plan update to Water Systems Consultant WSC in combined amount not to exceed $183,581 for water, wastewater, and lighting. Second by Director Beatty. Okay, thank you. Director Smiley?
Yes.
Director Davis?
No.
Director Beatty?
Yes.
Director Green?
Yes.
Director Sangster?
Yes.
Passes 5-1-0 absent.
Four.
Oh, sorry, 4.
It's only
10
8:45.
late, sorry. Go on day.
Okay, we'll move on to the next item. Make a finding of emergency circumstances and approve a design build contract with Viborg Sand and Gravel for immediate repairs to percolation pond number 2 at Machado wastewater treatment facility in an amount not to exceed $100,000 in contract costs and $40,000 in material costs, combined not to exceed $140,000, resolution 2025-16.
So currently at the wastewater treatment plant, we have 3 percolation ponds. In 2007, there was significant repair or mitigation done to 2 of those ponds to the tune of approximately $300,000 to $400,000. A loan at that time was taken from everybody else, roundabout way, that was just resolved last year or the year before. Anyway, the center pond, percolation pond 2, was locked up. It's since drained after several months. The other 2 ponds, the first pond and the third pond, are both draining very slowly. Basically, at this point, we're in an emergency state where we need to immediately remediate the drainage to allow for percolation in order to prevent some sort of an overflow or continued violation. Currently, since pond 1 and pond 3 are above their minimum freeboard, we're going to be in violation this quarter in our reporting. What's being proposed is immediate action utilizing Viborg Sand and Gravel to dig trenches, or to remove the top 4 feet of material, dig a trench through the next 4 feet of material in 3 different locations, install a 3/4 inch crushed rock, replace the top 4 feet, which is a fine sand gravel filtering material, to allow it to drain properly. There's 3 different strata. The top 4 feet is material that we brought in 2007. The next 3 to 4 feet is the material that was there when the plant was built in the 70, or in 78, I guess. That over the years has clogged up with sediment and materials from the effluent coming into those ponds. And then below that is a free draining